चले अब Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And today we are going to start our lesson about imperfect market structure. That is, the first example of imperfect market structure is monopoly. Monopoly means one seller and many buyers. It means one seller and many buyers of a unique product. कौन सा product है? He is producing a unique product. That's why he is a single seller. We can give an example of state monopoly of electricity. There is a single producer of electricity, and we all are buyers of electricity from that state company. Alright? So what he is doing, he is producing electricity for us, and he is facing no competitor. That's why we say the seller is the price setter. He is not price taker. तो क्या है? He is the price setter. He is the price setter because of no competitor in the market. He is producing a unique product, no one else is going to produce it. Now, what do you think? What type of demand curve he will be facing in the market? He is facing downward sloping, but inelastic market demand. He is facing inelastic market demand curve. Why we say it is inelastic? The reason behind is there are no competitors. When there are no competitors, no substitutes are there in the market, then demand curve will be inelastic. So this is the demand curve faced by a monopolist. This is inelastic, which is equal to average revenue, as we did in our revenue topic. When demand is downward sloping, it is overlapped by average revenue. Alright? So demand and average revenue, they are overlapped to each other, but marginal revenue will be twice steeper than average revenue. So I said monopolist is the price setter. Keep it in mind, he can set either the price or the quantity, because both price and quantity demanded, they are inversely related. Like if he sets this price, he will be able to sell only this quantity. Alright? If he wants to set this price P1, you can say this is P1, he will be able to sell quantity Q1. If he wants to increase the quantity sold, if he wants to sell more units of output, he must decrease the price. Until unless he decreases the prices, then he will be able to sell the extra units. Because demand, in case of market demand, price and quantity demanded, they are inversely related. He cannot set both price and quantity, but he can set either of them, and he sets the price. Because he is the monopolist, he sets the price in the market, he is the price setter. Although demand curve is downward sloping, he does not increase the quantity sold, but he keeps the quantity less in order to set a higher price in the market. Because none is competitor to him. Okay, so first thing I said, he is a single seller, he is producing a unique product, and demand curve faced by the monopolist is downward sloping, and it is inelastic because there are no substitutes or no competitors. Another thing that is called the strong barriers to entry. Strong barriers to enter the market. This is the main thing. When strong barriers are present, no one can enter this market and he facing no competition. Sometimes we have the barriers created by the government policy. Like market is regulated by the government authorities. Government has regulated that no one else other than state electric supply company can produce electricity in our country. When government is setting this regulation, so no one can be allowed to come into the market. There is a strong barrier created by the state. But sometimes a monopolist firm is having a very high fixed cost of production. That is the natural barrier. If we see around, we are producing most of our electricity by constructing a dam. And dam is having, to construct a dam, it requires 10 to 15 years. For 10 to 15 years, any company, it has to pay the fixed cost of production. After 15 years, the production will start. And if any competitor is able to pay this type of high fixed cost of production, then he can enter into the market. And a private seller does not want to pay such a huge fixed cost of production. So that is called a natural barrier. No competitor will try to enter into the market because of high fixed cost of production. Follow my point? So if these assumptions they are present, then we say this market structure is said to be the monopoly, where we find a single seller of unique product and he is selling the goods to the population of a country, and he is the price setter and he tries to earn supernormal. Now come towards the profit maximizing level of output.
Why is the demand curve not perfectly inelastic?
Perfectly inelastic now because he is facing downward. If he wants to sell extra unit, he needs to decrease the price.
So sir, why when there's only one firm like this
One firm,
they can increase their price to whatever but
sometimes in case of perfectly inelastic demand curve, you say demand remains fixed. This is the case. But he also wants to sell the extra unit to someone. So he decreases the price, he sometimes increases the price. He faces this downward sloping market demand. Alright? This is not the case. This is not a usual case. Okay? Now come towards the profit maximizing level of output. What is profit maximizing level of output? This firm has to decide the profit maximizing level of output at the point where marginal revenue of the firm equals to marginal cost. So profit maximizing level of output. Profit maximizing level of output. Alright. This is a point where marginal revenue of the firm equals to marginal cost. Now I am going to draw it. This is a demand curve which is inelastic. Now marginal revenue starts from the same point as the average revenue starts, but marginal revenue is twice steeper than the average revenue. Okay, marginal revenue is twice steeper than average revenue. Alright, so what we say, this is the marginal cost of production. This is what? Marginal cost. At this point you can see marginal revenue and marginal cost are equal. So he will produce this output level. He decided to produce the output level where marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost of production. Now please be attentive. He is the price setter. Keep it in mind, some students they make the mistake that this is the price of the monopolist. But keep it in mind, marginal revenue is not the demand curve of the monopolist. Therefore, he cannot set the price along the marginal revenue. above along the demand curve to set this price, which is equal to average revenue. In case of competition, we said price was equal to average revenue, that was equal to the marginal revenue. But in this case, what is happening? Average revenue is lying above the marginal revenue. Therefore, he sets the price along the demand curve. If I ask you, what will be the elasticity of demand at this point? There are different values of price elasticity of demand along one demand curve. So this is elastic part of demand. In between, at the middle, it is unitary, and here it is inelastic. Alright? During the elastic part of the demand curve, what is happening? His marginal revenue is positive. His total revenue is also increasing during the elastic part. Therefore, he does not set price on the inelastic part of the demand, because his marginal revenue will be negative and total revenue will be declining. If you remember, what will be the shape of total revenue? At this point, marginal revenue, when marginal revenue is zero, total revenue is maximum. So he does not move into this inelastic part of the demand curve, but he sets the price in the elastic part. He is the price setter. Follow my point? Now, what type of profit will be earned by this monopolist firm? Supernormal. We have to draw the average total cost. Keep it in mind. Once again, I make you aware that marginal cost should be intersecting the average cost from its minimum point. कहाँ intersect करेगा? Minimum point. Some students they draw the average cost curve, and that is not intersected by its minimum point by the marginal cost. So at this level of output, what is happening? The average cost of production of the firm is like this. So now we see average revenue is lying above the average cost. Therefore, this area is the profit of the firm. What type of profit it is? Supernormal profit is earned by this monopolist. Because if we say what is the total revenue area, price multiplied by quantity, this larger rectangle will tell us the total revenue. Whereas the area below the average cost will tell us the total cost. This lower rectangle is telling us total cost. So by the geometry of this diagram, we can say if we are subtracting total cost from the total revenue, this small rectangle will be left over, which is showing us the supernormal profit of the monopolist. He is the price setter, therefore he earns supernormal profit. Any problem till now, you can raise your question, then I will proceed further. So firm, if this monopolist wants to sell an extra unit, he must be decreasing price. And he is the price setter. He does not want to produce more units of output, then he has to decrease the price. Alright. If I say, where is the normal profit of this firm? Where average revenue is equal to average cost. At this point, this will be the normal profit of the firm. Then he will be producing more quantity and decreasing the price. But he does not increase the quantity produced because he wants to earn supernormal. At this point, he has to produce this quantity and price will be lower. So if price is lower, his revenue and cost will be equal and the profit will be normal. So what he does, he restricts the quantity produced at a lower level in order to set a higher price, in order to earn supernormal profit. Alright. So now I am going to tell you one more thing about the monopolist. What he is doing. What is the productive efficiency condition of this monopolist? Is he productively efficient? What is productive efficiency condition? What? Low cost. What do you know? Producing at the minimum point of average cost. Is he producing at this minimum point of average cost? He is producing where his average cost is higher. So he is ignoring economic efficiency. Productive efficiency is ignored by the monopolist. He is not producing at the point where his per unit cost of production is minimized. Alright? And he is producing at the point where average cost is higher than the minimum point. So he is not achieving productive efficiency, rather he has productive inefficiency. Productive inefficiency. You can also say he is X inefficient because minimum point is available, but he is not producing at the minimum point of the available average cost of production. So he is also X inefficient in its productive efficiency. What is allocative efficiency condition of the firm? Is he achieving allocative efficiency? Allocative efficiency is the point where price should equal to marginal cost of production. This is the marginal cost pricing. If firm produces at this level, he must be charging this price. So he is not charging price equal to marginal cost of production. His price is not equal to marginal cost. Rather, he is charging a price higher than marginal cost. Therefore, he is having allocative inefficiency as well. Allocative efficiency is the point when the price charged by the firm equals to marginal cost of production. And this is possible when marginal cost curve is intersecting the demand curve. If he is charging this price, then he will be able to achieve allocative efficiency to produce at this point. But he is not producing at the point of marginal cost pricing, so he is charging the price higher than marginal cost of production. Therefore, he is having allocative inefficiency. What it is? Allocative inefficiency. And if both efficiencies are not achieved, so monopolist is having economic inefficiency. Both productive and allocative efficiencies are not achieved by the monopolist. Therefore, we say this monopolist firm is having economic inefficiency. Alright? So this is about the monopolist, how he decides the level of output in order to set a higher price to earn supernormal profit. His demand is inelastic, but he is setting the price along the elastic part of this demand curve, and at the same time he does not want to earn normal profit. He produces less to set a higher price, and he is not achieving productive and allocative efficiencies. Till now I have completed this lesson, and in the next lesson I will be telling you about the price discriminating behavior of the monopolist. Otherwise this lesson will be becoming further lengthier. I don't want to mess it with more concepts. Okay, I leave it here, and tomorrow inshallah I will be going through the price discrimination policy of the monopolist and what is meant by the natural monopolist. Then our topic will be concluded about monopoly, and then we will be doing the monopolistic competition, and later on oligopoly, and our chapter will be approaching its end as well after the completion of the market structures. So that's all for today. Keep it in mind, this is a very, very important lesson. Sometimes the question is coming about the single monopolist. or sometimes there is going to be a comparison between a perfectly competitive firm and monopolist. This is competitive firm's pricing because he will be having normal firm. In case of competition, output is more produced and prices are low. But in case of imperfect competition, output is less and price is high in monopoly. So you can compare at home what is the difference, what are the similarities and differences among a perfectly competitive firm and a monopolist. Okay? So do at home. The comparison is also given in your endorsed book. You can go through that I should not be wasting my time to compare the two market structures. I will be proceeding towards monopolistic competition. So that's all for today.